Welcome to Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. Hopefully, we have a better program than we had to try to get on here. It was pretty bad. I think it's all Rodney's fault. I think he's been healing too many times, and now we're in trouble. By the way, I'm Brent West, and there I am. I stopped. Brent West, along with Jack Lord, Rodney West down below us here, and we're going to talk professional wrestling. If you have a question that you would like for us to answer, what in the world was it all about down there? You're the champion. He's the champion, the championship wrestling champion.
Right there it says, I have possession of the belt, so that makes it, you know what they say about that.
Well, by the way, folks, since he's saying he's the champion, who is going to be the champion? Friday, October 8th, Lafayette, Georgia, at the Rec Center. Bell time, 7:30. Our first live event for Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. It will be 16 wrestlers will bide for the first rounds of the tournament. And later on, we will be crowning a champion of championship wrestling. And so much to go. Blindfold battle royal that night. So if you live in anywhere around Georgia, make your way there, Lafayette, Georgia. You go to livechampionshiprwrestling.com to see the wrestlers that's involved there. By the way, folks, if you see us do stop action today, we're just trying to do that movie. What's that movie called? It had all stop action in it, and they'd move away and stuff would come real slow at them. What was this movie called? Well, evidently it doesn't matter because I don't remember what the movie is. Let's talk real briefly about CM Punk returning to professional wrestling after their 7-year absence. Jack, what a reaction this man had. Tremendous reaction.
Tremendous. When you have grown men in the audience crying because they're so overcome with emotion, you have tapped into something that has been missing in professional wrestling for a very long time. And my hat's off to Punk. He had a great reaction. He had a great little speech that he gave there. And I think that it was also classy. He never once called out WWE. Now he referenced them. If you know his story, you knew what he was talking about. They didn't give him airtime, which I thought was a good way to go.
I think they did like 1.2 million viewers for this program. Very good. I was very impressed by CM Punk myself. Also, Becky Lynch returns after a year absence. And Brock Lesnar returned on SummerSlam this week. So a lot of big things happened during the weekend for the modern day wrestling going on today. And I don't know that Ring of Honor did anything this week. I'm not for sure.
I'm not sure either.
You know, Bobby Fulton asked this question. He said, what is Ring of Honor even in business for? I mean, I kind of wonder that. You know, they could be such a big company. Such a big company. Sinclair Broadcasting could really make it big time, but they didn't. Rodney, I'm pretty sure you may or may not have watched any of those things that we're talking about.
I actually did not, but I find it interesting. As you know, I'm not one to start stuff, but it's funny that AEW has to use someone else's stars because they can't create their own.
And I think that's going to be a problem.
That is a major problem. They're walking right into Turner's. They're walking right down the same path Turner did.
Well, let's also make
that Vince can make talent. Let's look at it. And there's nobody there it came from somebody else. He made them all. Now they're going somewhere else, and that group seems to have a problem with making their own talent. They have to use somebody else's. And the same problem came with Turner. And like I said, they're walking right down that same path.
Well, let's back up quite a few years and remember that when WWF was first coming in, they had existing talent. But what exploded them was when they took all the real big name talent from everywhere around them.
Yeah.
So, AEW is, it's not a road untaken of what they're doing. I also understand, you got to you want people to tune in. But if Marco Stunt, and nothing against Marco, not the kind of guy I would watch on TV, but there's a market for him out there that do like. But he's not going to draw viewers to your show, But you put Marco Stunt against the Sting or against the CM Punk or somebody like that, people are going to tune in. Now they don't know who Marco is when they look, but if they do it right, by the end of that show, they're going to say, well, that guy was pretty good right there, and this guy over here that was in the second match, he was pretty good. So it brings eyes to the product. I get why they're doing. I also understand they got to build their own talent, and they're building a few, but it just seems like at the moment they're more concentrated on taking the talent that WWE failed with and showing that they know what they're doing with them. And they're not really missing the mark off that per se, but they're still not building their own talent at the rate they need to. And maybe they'll correct that.
And I hope, we know that CM Punk's getting a lot of money, a serious amount of dough for him to come back and do that. The only drawback I would have with CM Punk, when's he going to take his ball and go home with AEW? That's the only thing. He did it to WWE at really his height. And so I'd hope that he don't get mad when they don't do what he wants them to do and takes his ball and goes home. And he's done it before, so there's a possibility he'll do it again. I hope he don't. And he was making good money with WWE. Was it the most money he's ever made? Now, I'm not saying he's probably pulling $3 to $4 million a year from AEW. That's a lot of money, and they're spending a lot of money out. I think they make $44 million a year off of the television revenue, maybe more now that they've added another show. But we'll see. You've got CM Punk now. He is over to that fan base that is there at the place. So now do something with them, and maybe it'll help you grow because the fan was there.
I hate, as you know, you had a big audience Friday night. Why didn't you do it then?
Well, when you watch what they did,
they've already seen him. Now, what's the use of tuning in again?
I believe
the initial appearance.
Now, this is my thought. I thought they did a good job on what they did with him for the first time, because they didn't have to do much with him. It's going to be 6, 8, 9 weeks down the road. That's going to be the deal, because they brought Sting in and did nothing with them. Mm-hmm. They brought in these people and really don't do anything with them. So maybe CM Punk take care of his own stuff, but how mad is he going to be when he does something serious to try to get people to believe that that's professional wrestling, and a match later they do a stupid comedy skit? How happy is CM Punk going to be? Now, $4 million, he may be very happy. I'm not for sure, but I thought it wasn't about the money. I thought it was about professional wrestling. So we'll see if it was about money, what the purpose is, because I'd be very mad if I did something serious and then the next match they did something comedy skit that took away from what I just did. I would be very upset if I was any wrestler if I went and got through a table and the next segment they did a comedy skit that took away from everything I just did. You mean to tell me you put me through a table? I hurt myself. I'm putting my body on the line, and then you go out there and do a comedy skit after. I'd be very upset if I was a wrestler. I wouldn't want that to happen. But I did like the CM Punk, and I did like the Becky Lynch. I did not see yet Brock Lesnar. I did not see that. I did see Becky Lynch come in big time. I don't understand what they're saying. She's going to be turned heel. That makes no sense to me. Have you heard this, Jack?
Yeah. That came out today. I mean, I can see how they can do it. I don't understand why they would do it. Not off the response you got, but I'm not a $1 billion company either. So,
we'll see. we'll see what happens with that. But she did get a great response. I think it goes back to not they don't listen to the fans anymore. They only do what they want to do, and we'll see what happens. You make them too mad, that $1 billion company will go to 500 million in no time. Just make sure. And what I'm telling you is not because I watched a $500,000 a week business called Mid-South Wrestling do the same thing. They alienate the fans to a point that they didn't care about the product anymore, and it can happen in the business. We've seen it happen with the Continental Championship Wrestling. We saw it happen with the Southeastern Championship Wrestling. We saw it happen with Georgia Championship Wrestling. It will happen, and it can happen to you, regardless if you've got a ton of money. Because once people quit watching your product, well, then the sponsors are gone. Yep. And then you're in trouble. Let's go and see what people have to say. Maybe we talk about something else that may be a little bit more upbeat and the things.
Well, I think this is very upbeat.
Yeah.
Well, everybody has their opinions. It's like buttholes. Everybody's got an opinion, but this is the problem with wrestling today. Is people always see the negative in things. Yep. And we got to look at the positive of CM Punk and how over he was. I mean, I'm telling you, he was off.
But then before we segue to the comments, let's also talk real briefly about NXT. They had their pay-per-view last night. SummerSlam on Saturday was a pure sports entertainment event. I mean, they lived up to that entertainment aspect. Was it the best? I don't think by far it was not their best effort, I don't think. But there were some really standout matches. But last night with NXT, they had some great professional wrestling matches. And that Dragunov versus Walter match, absolutely one of the most brutal and beautiful matches I have seen in forever. And that's what gets me is the same company encompasses both that sports, comedy, entertainment aspect, yet at the same time, they also produce a real strong professional wrestling, by today's standards, professional wrestling product also. Now, my fear is they're making a huge amount of changes to NXT. Last night was the last business as usual NXT. I hope that they continue with the same thought process of developing wrestlers instead of entertainers. But you never know. You never know.
WWE, tons of money, $1 billion company. They say that AEW will come close. They'll take years to get to that. They're $1 billion a year company. Let's make no bones about it. They're
a global brand.
Yeah, a global brand all over the world. $1 billion. They make almost $1 billion and a little bit over a year in revenue. The cons are worth about $8 billion. But when you look at a company that's making $1 billion, bringing $1 billion a year in, they're just because he's worth $8 billion doesn't mean he has $8 billion in revenue just sitting around waiting to. But WWE does, and every year they make this money. It'll take them a very long time to get there. We hope they get there because the success of the top wrestling organizations, and Jack, you know this to be true. When Continental Championship Wrestling was drawing huge gates in 1984, 85, 86, and into the latter part 87, you were wrestling in Alabama at the same time for the independent groups. And they were doing tremendous business as well. So business does good for the AEW and WWE. They can get back up there doing 3s and 4s and 5s. All wrestling companies will survive by that. Am I right about that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Those were some of the strongest years that wrestling in the Southeast ever had. Now, and it's coming back. We used to be, we always heard that 7-year wave. You'd be up for 7, down for 7. Well, we've been down for about 21 years. So, but it really is starting to come back up. I saw tremendous packed houses, even with WWE, with that on the Peacock Network this weekend, with everything else. Saturday night, I saw pictures from independent shows from all over the United States with huge crowds. So, it used to be you didn't run against the WWE event. You just didn't. And now you can, because people are out there looking for that. They're looking for, something different.
And live entertainment. They want it live. Yep. They want to see it, because professional wrestling was meant, and we've talked about this, Rodney, and this is true. Professional wrestling was meant to be viewed live.
Yep.
Exactly.
And if you've never seen a wrestling match live, you're missing something. Am I correct, Rodney?
Exactly right. And it's always been that way. You can watch it on TV. Most people, they kind of like it on television, but it's nothing like being in an arena. It's nothing like the lights going off and the ring light coming on, that bell ringing, and get the response of the crowd. If you're not a fan yet, if you're there live, you will be by the end of the show. It's just that. Just being there in that atmosphere is different than watching it on TV, for sure.
And when we talk about opinions of wrestling, all three of us that are sitting at this and talking about professional wrestling, we probably have some different outlooks on professional wrestling. But the outlook, we know, if they're over and they're making money, they're a success. And that's just the point of it. We realize that one of these days we hope to be just a little bit successful in our live content that we're going to be doing on October 8th. And it will be, and I don't know if we've told people this or not, but it will be, you'll be able to see portions of it on our YouTube channel each Saturday and Sunday. So we want everybody, if you've not went to the YouTube, it will only be on YouTube, because Jack, if I'm not mistaken, this is going to be taped all in 4K. So that's the only place YouTube will actually, you could watch it in 4K. Exactly. I think Facebook's only 720. Am I right?
Yeah. And by the way, the guy that's filming it has extensive work with Impact Wrestling, with I think he's done some A&E stuff. I mean, he's been around. He knows what he's doing. He's absolutely the best that we could get.
So it will be in 4K. So if you've not went to YouTube and you've not subscribe to it. It's absolutely free. Does not cost you a dime. And you'll be able to see that on Saturdays and Sundays starting October the 16th. As long as something doesn't happen, and for some reason our computers go awry and we're not able to do some editing. But as far as we know, October 16th, it'll be the first show, Saturday, October 16th, right here. But make sure you get there live. You're going to enjoy the whole show. It's only $15 a ticket, so if you live in the area, it'll be nice to see. Okay, are we ready? I think we've run our mouths and told us. Yep. Let's see what now?
You ran your mouth. I didn't. I'm waiting on the people.
Who was that was saying, now you don't want me to cause any trouble?
That's been 20 minutes ago.
No, we ain't been on 20 minutes. We only been
20 minutes ago.
18 minutes.
It's kind of like watching a WWE show. You have to take 20 minutes of talk at the beginning before we get able to get to the people.
By the way, I'm having computer issues. I noticed I am now. So if I break up, if I go off, Jack and Rodney will have to handle it. I don't know what's wrong. I'm having some computer issues tonight. So, hello guys from Richard Hood. Richard Hood sent me. Did you get the little video of the big old guy coming off the top rope onto this little guy on the table?
Yeah, and if memory serves, that's a few years old. And I think he broke the guy's nose in that process.
Right.
That's a big old guy.
That's
like me coming over on my puppy.
There's no reason for that in pro wrestling. I'm sorry. That's just asking to get somebody hurt for probably the Dr. Pepper and the hot dog. But
it popped the 20 people in the crowd.
Yeah, it did. But man, it popped that guy's nose too. So
yep.
Michael Barr is with us. Hello, all. Chad Mojo Hitter, Coleman from Winfield, Louisiana. We have been there to Winfield, Louisiana. Victor Nash, hello, everyone. What a weekend for wrestling. Yes, it was a great weekend for wrestling. Glenn Allen Shelton, hello, guys. Chaplain Freddie, Rooster Roper, hello, folks. Let's see, boxing, Brian Young. By the way, if you have not got his book, The Wrestler's Wrestler, available on Amazon. Jack, I think you have read portions of it.
Yeah, I've still not finished it, but man, what I've got into has just been great.
Good to see you guys. Brian Young here. Will Rodney accept my challenge for the title?
There's a long list of challengers, and let me just put you down on the list, and it may take a while because there's a long list there.
Now, I'm going to tell you, I can tell tonight that Missy has been held in a cage. She is involved.
She's upset because I put her in the pen, but she was going wild beforehand.
She has been bad, as she's like Jim Cornette, now has been put in the cage, and they're going to get five at the end. Jack's going to be able to get 5 minutes alone her in the end of this. I could hear her. I said, man,
I have duct tape.
Oh man, send all cards and letters directly. Stuart Kemp. So did Bill Apter of the Cowbell? What? I'm not for sure. I've not seen that. I'd have to look at that. Larry Bailey is with us. Hello, guys. Michael Barr says possession for now anyway. That can change, Rodney. Well, it will change because it'll leave his hands on October 8th, and it'll be out there for everybody to see. So Rodney will not have that any longer. Sipo Kangas, I believe. Hello. Steve Richards. Hello, gentlemen. Daryl Glass. Daryl, it's been a while. Good evening from Jacksonville. I think it's been a while since he's been on here. Michael Barr, CM Punk will make the promotion go to the top. We hope so. We'd like to see that happen. Yeah, we hope it happens. Brian says also Ric Flair back to the National Wrestling Alliance. Woo!
Well, for the one show anyway, we'll see.
But what do y'all think? Trying to fit in with you Southern boys. By the way, we're going to have him come on here soon. I believe he was supposed to come on. We've been having some trouble, and I can't remember when I told Brian he's going to come back. Brian, I'm about to get back with you when I told you we were going to go and do this. He's got a very informational thing, and he's going to come back on with us. And I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and tell this right now. So Rodney and Jack remembers this. Next Monday, we'll have Brian on here, and he has a very interesting discussion that he would like to discuss with us in person. And Brian, if you're available next week, I believe I told him. I don't believe I wrote it down. I'll be honest with you. I don't think I wrote it down. So, but next week, remind me, Jack, Rodney, Brian on the show next Monday, and he's got a very interesting thing that we want to talk about. Michael, how you doing, sir? Good evening, everyone. Glenn Allen Shelton, biggest crowd pop, alt 3. Is that what he says? Dr. Philbo Grice is with us as well. Hello. Sipo says CM Punk is a great wrestler, but slightly annoying. Let's see. Dennis Mitchell. Hello, guys. CM Punk, in my opinion, is CM junk. He is no Harley Race. No. Well, I don't think we're getting any better years than he's Harley Race. By the way, Harley Race did not like. And I guess he must have went through a training camp. I always forget that champion at AEW. I always forget this guy.
I can't even think of
Omega. For some reason, Harley Race did not like him. I just heard the story. I never got the whole story of it, but for some reason, Harley Race didn't like him. Victor Nash said CM paid for all the ice cream bars.
He did.
At the show that night?
Yeah. You know, the deal from WWE days was, they had the ice cream bars. And CM Punk never had his own ice cream bar. And he made a big deal out of it that he wanted his own ice cream bar from WWE. Now, I don't remember that they ever did that, but he had an ice cream company to make up ice cream bars, paid for it himself, and gave to every fan in that building that night.
Well, I understand at SummerSlam, people got free stuff as well because the actual system where they could collect the money and collect stuff was not working. So
right.
Everybody got free stuff.
Yeah, they're a cashless concession there. So.
And it did not. So it did not work. So they were just having to give it to people for the night. And by the way, the Wi-Fi also went down while the show was going on, which, you know, folks, you're there. Watch it live, because I could hear people tape it, and they were watching their phones, listen to the commentary on it, and watching the show at the same time. I thought it was very interesting, though. 51,000 people. It just tells you WWE still has what it takes to draw a great crowd. By the way, Mike Cook said exactly. I'm not for sure what Mike Cook said exactly too, but. Mike, let us know what you said. If you're still with us, let us know what you said exactly, too, because we talked about a lot of stuff in that first 18 minutes. Rodney said he didn't speak at all. But I think he did. ROH did a show years ago at Center Stage in Atlanta. Yeah, that was crazy the way they had that set. They just come right out and right to the ring. I'm thinking, why did they even have the stage there? Because there's not a stage there unless they put one there, is there? Ain't it like a what do you? The people would sit here, and there's a whole open spot there.
I think they've put a stage in there since then, because I think they use it for concerts and stuff now too.
All right, so they don't. Okay, so that's the reason they went directly to the. Man, that looked just awkward. It looked just a little awkward when I was watching that. Well, Michael Barr. Okay, we have a debate going on here. Any rebates? Yeah, there'll be some rebates later on. Well, listen. That sometimes. There could be a debate that happens here. It just happens, but at the end, we're still friends. And but there could be a debate happen, especially when Rodney's involved. There could be a debate. All right, Rodney didn't even seem to react to that.
I'm just agreeing with you. Go ahead.
What about TNA? They had their own talent. No, no, they didn't. They did.
Okay. That was a great laugh. It was
well. They
will be playing here all weekend.
They did have a few guys, but not a whole lot.
You know, it's sad because they never made their own stars. TNA didn't either. They brought in Hogan. They brought in the Dudleys. I mean, it's just a array of talent that they had to pay a lot of money to. And when you look
Sting,
back,
didn't they not have Sting at one time as well?
They had Sting, yeah.
AJ Styles, really got prominent there, but I don't think he became a major star until he went to Japan and then debuted at WWE. That's what put him on.
Yeah, I think that they just never could mesh very well and develop their own talent because you got to know how to develop your own talent. There is a skill to developing your own talent, and first of all, you better have some. You will never develop talent if you don't have strong heels and baby faces. You will never. You know why CM Punk was over? Because people had an emotional connection with him that night.
Yep.
And unless they know without that emotional connection, people won't get over it. You know, why was Tommy Rich as over as he was? Because he had an emotional connection with the fans. Somehow, some way, they connected with him. The same thing with Ole Anderson. They connected with him in a way they didn't like him, but that wasn't turnoff heat. It was, I want to see Ole get beat up, but I like Ole.
Yep.
You know, it was just the connection. And I think if they learn anything about this thing going to happen Friday night, connection. Learn how to connect your wrestlers with the fans. And if you'll do that, you'll be very successful in that. And I think that's I really think there's the only thing missing because there's some great wrestlers out there. I mean, tremendous wrestlers that can really go. Mickey Mayfield, I watched a replay on YouTube of the entrances, and it was very cool. But Jericho's entrance, where the fans singing song Judas, was very cool also.
It really was.
I didn't watch it. I don't think he was on the Friday.
That was on the Wednesday night show.
Oh, okay. I kind of like to watch that hour show. I didn't watch. I front through some of it, but the hour show was pretty good because it didn't last 2 or 3 hours like Raw does. That'll put you to sleep. Where is Dixie Carter at now, Jack? You know where Dixie Carter is?
She's still around. She has made a few wrestling-related tweets here in the last couple of months.
People still make fun of her because she didn't know what she was doing, like letting Dutch Mantel and Jim Cornette go. And keeping Vince Russo.
Well, that's because Vince knew how to politic and get her.
And Dutch and Jim Cornette was not going to politic with anybody. They're going
I think if nothing else that we have learned in the last 50 years of professional wrestling is don't trust anybody named Vince.
Exactly right.
I think that her mistake was she paid a lot of people out too, paid a lot of big names, just, and I do believe that can be a problem, but I've probably not agreed with a lot, but I think right now, currently, I agree with CM Punk's thing. I think he's the only one that's connecting with the people in some form or fashion. They connect with them for some reason. There's a connection there with the fans. So,
well, Jimmy Cornette said the other day, he said, you see a 15,000 seat arena sell out just on the possibility that Punk was going to be there.
That's true. That's true because they didn't know he was going to be there.
No.
Victor Nash, Rodney, CM Punk was in ROH before WWE, then AEW. Michael Barr. Could CM Punk become a world champion in that promotion in the future? I would.
Right. Anything's possible. I don't see Punk as one of those guys that needs a championship.
No. Greg Zimney. Do you guys think old school wrestling KV Hills Babies could ever exist today? Yes.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. People think, well, it's social media. Well, we all know wrestling ain't real. I know that Lost wasn't real. I know the General Hospital's not real. I know those things are not real, but they develop it like it is.
Yeah.
The reason babyfaces and heels can't work because there's not a such thing because they don't know what babyfaces and heels are. They think the shades of gray are going to. You've got to have babyfaces and heels.
Everything in the world, not just wrestling, but everything in the world changes. It goes to another stage. And wrestling is no different. Now, can we have kayfabe again like we did back then? No, because people know. Okay, but to me, if nothing else, kayfabe should just be shut up. And that's to the people inside the industry, which is what ironically drew CM Punk to want to be a part of AEW because what was the guy that passed away there? That was one of their
if you would have asked me, I would have knew Brody.
Brody Lee.
Brody Lee.
He was so impressed by the fact that everybody in that company knew what was going on, but nobody said anything. That was a private matter. They didn't want to put extra pressure on his wife. And Punk said, that is what made me know that I could come to this company and respect it. And also, he and Tony Khan have been talking for a year and a half. They've just been waiting for the pandemic to end.
Yeah.
So for a year and a half, they knew he was coming because all them T-shirts were ready.
They were already printed up, ready to go for that night. So when the people walked in that building, they knew CM was going to be there because the T-shirts were all over the place. I believe they also knew just maybe, they also knew that Becky Lynch was showing up because they had a T-shirt ready for her as well. So they were selling one that night. So they pretty well knew something was going to happen. But I think I've been at each pay-per-view though. So I guess people knew she was on it. But I do believe it can be done. It's just got to be serious. I truly believe that wrestling is a drama-based wrestling company with just a little bit of comedy to not make it so where you leave and you feel like, oh my goodness.
And it shouldn't be intentional comedy.
No.
Bobby Heenan was not a comedian. And when he did stuff that was funny, he wasn't doing it as a comedian. You know, he was doing it in a serious way, but what he said was funny. He did, you know, the character he portrayed obviously didn't mean it that way, but we still laughed at it.
Yeah. What do you think, Rodney? Social media, can it exist?
You have to be smarter than the social media people. You've got to be one step ahead of them. And the main thing is you cannot tell what's going to happen before the show comes on. And in lots of cases, it does. It leaks out somehow or purposely is leaked out for whatever reason. I don't get it. But
how long has AEW been in business? 2 years? You said 3, but I don't know if it's been 3, has it?
No, it hasn't.
I think they're coming up on 2 years.
Yeah.
Rip Rogers.
Hey.
On here with us. If you take the time to build your own talent, it takes way longer. Your ratings will increase slowly, but not like adding a CM Punk for instant ratings jump.
There you go.
And that's the reason they did it. It's long term. It's going to be we're going to see long term what they do with them. That is going to be the question. What will they do with them? And you know, Sting did an instant rating bump too, but it fell afterwards because they did nothing with him. So it's going to be what you do with them. It's great to have a wrestler that you're paying money to, but do you know what you're going to do with them? And are you going to lose the fans? See, this is my problem with adding WWE wrestlers to AEW. They were the guys that said, we're going to be different from WWE. We're going to be an alternative to the WWE. But the problem is that was all independent wrestlers except for Cody Rhodes. And they were like well, look at this. We're going to put it to Vince McMahon. But the problem now lies in the guys that the people liked and they supported. They're going to be took down the totem pole so that people like CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, the guys from WWE, they're going to be put to the top. So will you lose that fan base? Will you lose those people that was with them because it was about the putting it to the man and we're doing this by ourselves, and now you're really not.
Well, yeah, but here's also another take on that is fans got real frustrated over the way that Aleister Black and Daniel Bryan and guys like that were treated in WWE. You know, they were handcuffed so much, and AEW is basically saying, hey, we're bringing these established WWE guys in, but we're taking the handcuffs off. So now whatever you wanted to see, whatever you thought they could be, we're giving them a platform to do that. So, you know, I think they're going to draw a lot of those disgruntled fans that quit watching WWE.
You know, when you look at that, you know, and I have to say this though, you know, we talk about CM Punk and we talk about what he did. I want people to do me a favor in what you saw CM Punk do and what he did in WWE. Go take an interview that he did in WWE and go take an interview that he did. It was no different. It was still the same CM Punk that you saw in WWE. So did he get to do what he wanted to do and just you know, they didn't let him play his whole ball game and he left. You've got to put a level to it and say, are they capable of doing their stuff on their own? I don't know that they are because they never had to. They were always told what to do. So, you know, Michael Hayes learned and got to do what he wanted to do in each town. They didn't tell him. They said, okay, roll up at the deal. They didn't tell him after that. That was just, okay, you're in the end of this match, roll up. They didn't tell him what to do from one to the other. But these guys started being told what to do from the beginning to the end. Where are they going to learn? They don't want to learn it on TV. If you learn it on TV, well, then you're learning how to build the house, and you never built a house before. So that's the one thing that I see about it that I kind of have a problem with because they've not been there. They've not done it by themselves. So here, put them out. What if they get lost out there because they've never done it on their own? I mean, you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying, Rodney? What do you think about that?
Yes, exactly. And If them doing what they wanted to do is doing the thing in the stadium, oh, that was stellar television. I'm here to tell you. Vince is just sitting there just rolling and laughing after that one. If that's them doing what they want to do, this is unbelievable.
But you got to understand, and this is the way I look at it. If you're a student of wrestling, and me and Rodney have been, we were born in it. We were a student of wrestling. We watched the companies go down and we watched them go up, and we kind of seen why they went up and why they went down. It never mattered if Wrestling 2 was in Atlanta. You let Wrestling 2 drop off of television for a year. It took another 2 years to get Wrestling 2 back over again because he was off of televisions for so long. It took so long. They almost killed him when Toru Tanaka, was it Toru Tanaka or Pac Songhart? Pac Songhart Wrestling 2 in Atlanta. Yeah. He was out for about 4 months, 5 months. And they almost didn't get Wrestling 2 back over again.
It was very difficult.
It took for a long period of time to get them over again. And that's the thing, I think CM Punk, they have it, but man, they better take a hold of it and know what they're going to do and do some tremendous things with them. But don't do the stuff with them in 2 matches down the line, do the comedy. It will kill it. It will absolutely kill what you're building, because you've built something real here. And it's real to the people. This is real to them. That's the reason they connected to him. But you can't do that and then put him on there. And while he said the reason he don't want to be in WWE because it's not professional wrestling, well, what's that going to be? What's that going to make him look like when they do comedy before and after his match? What does that make CM look like? Makes him look like I only did it for the money. And you got to be very careful in that respect, because that's what he argued about. He didn't want to do stupid stuff. Well, he may not do stupid stuff, but there may be a ton of them before and after him. What do you think, Jack? What's he going to think when they do that?
We shall see.
I mean, I'm just, I wish the best for him. I'm just, playing, I hope they don't do that and then alienate him where he says, I don't want to be a part of this. What in the world are you doing? Because did he really watch the show? Has he really watched the show? Does he really know what's going on?
No, actually, he even made the comment that he has not watched.
So, even Missy has a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not, I'm just trying to say, I could understand him being mad. I could understand him doing something and then he watches the show and goes, what did y'all just do? Everything I just did, you just killed it. I can see that happening in that dressing room, and maybe they won't. Maybe they're going to change some stuff. Sipo says
not with everybody calling their own stuff.
So what's that? Whose head he's talking about?
Cesaro.
Oh, okay, all right. Was never properly pushed, but WWE became a champion. He has a talent. Yes, he does have the talent. I agree with you. He has great talent.
Vince doesn't think he can cut a promo. And I thought he's always done just fine.
Well, has he hurt some of the other people he has done it?
I
know. Brett, check out the interview with Punk and the Neon. I watched bits and pieces of it. It was very long, so I didn't. But again, he said in one aspect, he said, oh, we don't tell what's going on, and then went on there for an hour and told everybody behind the scenes crap. So I don't know what to think. I don't. They should not have put him on after that fact and gave people an hour or two to listen to him talk. They should have done that on their TV show where they were getting ratings. Why in the world, Tony Khan, did you do that? That was stupidity on a very big time level. Only make the people put him on your TV show that people are paying, that your network, Warner Brothers, is paying $44 million or $50 million or whatever you're getting a year. Don't put the guy on free on YouTube. Just don't do that. Glenn Allen, CM was in NWA, then Ring of Honor. Mm-hmm. Paul, I
know that since then that people responded from his days of NWA and Ring of Honor when they responded to him the other night.
Yeah, they didn't see him on there. That's true. They watched him on WWE. At the end of the day, wrestling fans wanted an adult wrestling program and not a Disney wrestling product. I think I agree. Y'all agree with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think they want blood and guts. I don't
No.
if ever.
No, that was long gone a long time ago.
Yeah, I don't think they want.
Even when they were trying to do it, it was still no.
Will CM Punk have to climb the ladder and not try to make success overnight as he was at the top of his game? No, they're putting him right on the main event. So be careful of that. He's going to go. He don't have to work his way there. GCW, the Animal in the Cage, secrets provided the best pop.
Yes,
I agree with
yes, yes, it did.
Yeah, that was good. Even though George the Animal still did not get over in Atlanta, by the way. Hello, guys. Rick Brooks, Glenn Allen said he should have been out 7 years. Yeah, I think that's how long he was gone. I'm gonna go through these real quick so we can. Brock was at the end of the Roman Reigns and Cena match. I heard that was a pretty decent match.
It was.
Tony getting more talent than shows. Yes, I agree with you on that. They are getting a lot of talent. Maybe they're going to open territories, which would be smart, by the way. George, I'm not even going to try to say that name.
Hey, George.
Why does WWE keep trying to go, bro? I don't understand that one.
Because sponsors asked for him, and he still drops.
Dr. Phil Bull Grice. So is Brock and Roman going to be heel versus heel? What do you think?
It looks like they're going to put Brock into the babyface position there, which would be different.
I love Walter. They call him Walter, though, don't they?
Walter, just Walter.
Sipo Kangas. Let's see. Dr. Brock was looking as baby, but Paul Heyman, I'm not sure, in Byron was Bob. He had a great. I did see that little clip where Paul Heyman seen him, and he did tremendous when they hit him. And he looked like he had saw a ghost.
That was so very well done. I'll give him props for that.
Jack,
that's great, and that's great storytelling right there. Absolutely fantastic.
Yep. Jack, do you think Adam Cole has come to AEW since he hasn't resigned with WWE NXT?
Well, WWE put all his shirts at half off last night, so we'll see.
I have to mention this. Curtis says, "Wow, a podcast of people who think they know wrestling." Well, everybody thinks they know something, Curtis. I'm pretty sure you know something because you just said you knew something. So everybody knows something, Curtis. Paul. WWE is.
Well, I can just tell you this for the gentleman before us: Curtis, I will not be wearing a CM Punk shirt.
Curtis, so is he a CM Punk fan? He get that mad
at us. But I'm a mark for no one.
Well, let me tell you, if CM Punk really cared about you, he wouldn't have left for 7 years. Remember that. Think about that. He wouldn't have left for 7 years. He thinks about CM Punk and CM Punk alone, or he would not have left wrestling for 7 years. He left because they didn't let him do what he wanted to do. He will leave again, AEW, when they won't let him do what he wants to do. Point blank, you will leave. We've known a lot of people like that in the wrestling business. They want it their way, and if they can't get it their way, they'd just rather go.
That was also one of my big pet peeves with what NWR WCW did. Sure, they brought Hogan and Savage and all of them, but who did they help get somebody else over? They didn't. They were there with the intentions of keeping themselves in the top spot and not passing the torch to someone else. And will that be the same thing that happens here? I say it will. And
if you can't beat somebody, Ultimate Warrior, by the way, could not be beaten. WCW could not be beaten. Right. He was another person, only cared for himself, by the way. Did not care about nobody else. Paul said WWE is the New York Yankees and AEW is a Triple H club. Glenn, like I said, everybody's got opinions. And we invite all opinions, and a lot of it is based on experience that we've had. Got to remember, we grew up in the wrestling business. Me and Roddy grew up in the wrestling business. We were actually in the territories of the wrestling, listening to our father tell the stories. And sometimes we were there and knew the stories. We were there. We were in Georgia Championship Wrestling. We knew what was going on behind the scenes and what was happening. And so
one of the most disappointing things that ever happened was the big run that WCW had. and then was unable to follow up with it. And it's because of their inability to develop new talent, because you rated somebody else's talent. And that's a terrible indictment of Eric Bischoff and him unable to see past tomorrow.
By the way, read Eric Bischoff, what he says about it. Here's a man that did it. And he did make, if you've not read it, there's a story out that Eric Bischoff, I think he does 83 weeks, 84 weeks, 86 weeks, 80 something weeks. But he talks about that, why that is a mistake. And this is coming from a man that made the mistake. So you might want to listen to it. Also, you probably
to develop new talent.
No, the others say Bray Cole, but I think he will go at AEW. Pat Rose, what was the AEW numbers? 1.2 million, 1.2 million viewers. Remember, back in CM Punk's days, they were doing 3.1s on WWE. So let's hope those people, they come back to wrestling at 3.1. But CM Punk's ratings dropped from John Cena's reign. So they were doing 4.3s, and it dropped to 3.1s, 3.2s. So it's just what they do with CM Punk that's going to be important. I think he can do it. He is talented enough to do it, and I think he can if they allow him to do it. But who knows? Remember, Kenny Omega, President, Jungle Kings, or what their names? The
Jurassic Express.
Huh? Jurassic Express, yeah.
Yes.
Cody Rhodes, all top-level people. Get over too much. He won't be there. He just won't. What is happening with John Morrison and Byron Corbin? Both are great.
Byron. John Morrison is, honestly, they're doing really about as much as I expected them to do with John. I think he's great, but I think that mid-level is where he needs to be. Baron Corbin, I'm kind of enjoying the little storyline they're doing where he's broke and trying to figure out how to make a buck. At least they're doing something with him.
Yeah, I've seen Pitts. I think he does it tremendously. I like him better as that is the King Corbin thing. I think he does real well. All right, we're gonna have to go. We're gonna have to get off here. I know we have a lot of people that we made a lot of people mad.
Did we?
But it's just your opinion. And in the professional wrestling business, it's all about opinions, and we all should listen to it. When Wrestling 2 and Superstar had their big feud in Atlanta, it wasn't about. They would go over and say they'd ask Wrestling 2, what do you think about this? Well, I'd rather do it this way. Then they'd go over to Bill Eadie and say, all right, he would rather do it this. Okay. Then they go back and forth. There was always discussion of how to make it better, and they always did it.
Kevin says he's mad.
Kevin who?
Pinley. He's upset. He's mad.
Kevin's mad.
Be another one on the list for the championship belt, I'm sure.
But we have a lot of stuff, and maybe we should come back with it. But we all have opinions of professional wrestling. I'll be honest with you, full disclosure, I was never a CM Punk fan to begin with. I didn't think he was a John Cena. I didn't think he was a Rock. I didn't think he was a Stone Cold Steve Austin. I just didn't think that. Now, Jack loves CM Punk. We've had a lot of discussions over CM Punk. I was never a fan, but I became one Friday night. I will tell you that. I became a fan on Friday night. I thought for what he did a very good job.
Glenn Allen Shelton just popped in, wanted to know where do you get those T-shirts at for the CM Punk. They're at AEWshop.com, I believe is the name of it. But ProWrestlingTees.com owns, they run the AEW shop. So just go there. You can find the shirt there. Do not go to eBay and pay $500. Because that's what they're selling those shirts for.
Whoa.
The only difference is the shirt on the back says I was there. And if you weren't there, I don't know why you would pay $500. But while you're there at ProWrestlingTees.com, look at Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. Snag you one of ours.
Yes. All right, guys, we appreciate it. I think Tim Horner had said something too, but I can't find where he said something, but we'll try to find it.
Back on. He would give us he would have a difference, I think, of opinion as well.
I cannot find it. Somebody said something about Tim saying something. I can't find it on here. What was said. If he's on there, I've just went past it somewhere and I can't find it. But yeah, Dutch Mantell is a wrestling mind. I think he could help any wrestling company at this point in time. Well, Rip Rogers could too, by the way. So
yeah.
AEW get in touch with Rip Rogers. I think.
I just want to say this just real quick. Rip Rogers may or may not be on my top 100 list.
All right, I don't see Tim. Do y'all? I don't know. Maybe they were just maybe he was on there and he took it off.
I don't see.
But
I didn't see him either.
But we had a great discussion. Now, probably the first discussion we had when we got a little, I wouldn't say heated, but we got difference of opinion. But that's pro wrestling, and that's what makes pro wrestling great. And
just imagine this: CM Punk, the head of the new NWO.
We got to leave. We got shut it off right now.
Put together something new no one's ever seen. CM Punk puts together the Four Horsemen.
No, that's Ric Flair next coming back to.
I'm sorry.
Evan Penley's wanting to know. He said Disco Kid, but I think he meant Disco Inferno. And I think I can speak for all three of us when we say no.
Well, the Disco Kid was actually Rip Rogers.
Yes, that's him.
Okay, well, that could work.
Yeah, very great too. Thank y'all so much. If we offended you, we're sorry. I am. We're just talking wrestling. We respect every wrestler as well, but we have to talk about something. And that seemed like that was a great discussion tonight to talk about CM Punk. We hope AEW does well. We hope WWE does, Ring of Honor, any wrestling company, because we know if they're doing well, then on Friday, October 8th, we'll do well.
Amen.
So we thank y'all so much. We appreciate it. And we'll see everybody. We'll see everybody tomorrow night as we will top 100. I can't remember. Is it 85 and 86? I think
so.
I have put mine on Facebook. So make sure you get over there.
Me. Victor wants to mute the champion. How dare he?
Victor Nash wanted you muted. So there you go. Well, sometimes we want to mute Rodney. All right, we'll see everybody.
Wait a minute.
He said you are.
That I am muted.
All right, thank you so much. We're about 7 minutes late getting over to the Insiders. We're gonna look at Georgia Championship Wrestling programs tonight, and we're gonna talk a little bit about Georgia Championship Wrestling on our. So if you want to be a supporter, go and support the page. You'll get to see stuff like this. Sometimes our discussions can get this way on the supporter channel. Sometimes it may be even worse. We'll see you tomorrow night right here on Pro Wrestling Inside News.